Today's show is brought to you by Bogart Extractors, an industry leader in hydrocarbon extraction. Over the last decade, Bogart has implemented many new technologies which have helped to revolutionize the way hydrocarbon extractions are performed. Each unit is made with sanitary stainless steel and is built and tested right here in the USA. Their certified system for use in licensed facility meet all NFPA and ASME standards and undergo peer reviewed by third-party engineers to ensure facilities and its employees can operate safely. Beyond simply making a functional extractor, Bogart has many additional features which make extraction faster and more cost-effective compared to other manufacturers. These features include hydrocarbon failing films to supercharge evaporation rates, heavy-duty explosion-proof pumps for flammable liquids and vapors, industrial chillers capable of maintaining large tanks of solvent at temperatures below 60 Celsius. They also offer extensive tech support and consultation services. So whether you need to set up an extraction lab from scratch or you just need some replacement gaskets, give them a call at 855-553-3887 or check out their website at www.bogart.com.
Yeah, the World Health Organization came out a few years back and proved that it's not addictive. CBD is also in broccoli and kale. So I suppose it's possible if you're addicted to broccoli, there might be a chance. But other than that, no. CBD is made in our bodies. I don't know if we can be addicted to our bodies. But no, there are no like opioid triggers or any tricking of the brain or anything like that. CBD is as natural and healthy and non-addictive as eating a bowl of salad.
Welcome to the Miracle Plant Podcast, the show that inspires, promotes, and gives you a daily dose of inspiration from the people who have used cannabis to change their lives in extraordinary ways. Here's your host, Justin Benton.
Hi, everyone. Really excited to, start this amazing questionnaire with somebody that I think you're really excited to hear about. Justin Benton is the CEO of 101 CBD, and he's going to be answering some of the top questions that we all hear about, that we all get. And before we do, he's going to talk about why he is so, passionate about this plant and why it's truly a miracle. Welcome, Justin.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really look forward to answering a lot of the questions that we get all the time. And I just wanted to have a place so many people who are confused about this miracle plant can kind of have them all checked off and be like, wow, he answered all three of my questions. So really happy to be here. Our story was our son was diagnosed severe on the spectrum or autism. And we were looking for anything we could to find to help clear the fog for him. And we came across some research about CBD. We tried some products. We didn't have a lot of success. I was a cannabis farmer, so I grew some high CBD strain, did a real simple cold extraction, just like making freshly squeezed orange juice. And he was at a pumpkin patch. And one thing, we gave him a little bit while he was having a tantrum under a bench. And literally 5 minutes later, he was out picking pumpkins with his sister. The whole family was there. It was just an aha moment, so to speak, no pun intended. And, ever since then, fast forward, he's been featured in American medical journals, his story, and he's considered off the spectrum. And so our mission at 101cbd.org is to pay it forward and give products to families that are looking for answers for free. In fact, every order, we actually have instituted a program officially. We were always doing it, but every order we donate another product to a family affected by autism. So we're really here to answer a lot of questions, and I know there's a lot of people that are suffering, and this miracle plant can help them, whether it's spectrum autism, ADHD, autoimmune diseases. The miracle plant helps our bodies find homeostasis, which is basically balance. And so, at this point, the only thing I know CBD can't help with is the dishes. So, yeah, happy to be here.
I love it. Well, some of the top questions that many people, want to know about are, first of all, what is CBD and what does that stand for?
So CBD stands for cannabidiol. It's a tongue twister. There's a lot of different words and lingos and and letters in the alphabet. But CBD comes from the cannabis plant, so cannabidiol, and you take the C, the B, the D out of it, and that's why it's called CBD. And from that miracle hemp plant comes the CBD. You grow strains of cannabis that have high CBD percentages, but there's also so much more that goes on in that plant. There's over 500 pieces of the plant. There's over 100 other cannabinoids like CBD. So there's other ones called CBG and CBC, and all of those cannabinoids each work together like a symphony and really helping our body find that balance. So if you don't want to just take something that is an isolate, so it's just one part CBD, you want to take a product that's what's called full spectrum, or what we call whole plant. So you're using the entire plant when you're making the products or using the products. And we even show people on our blogs and videos how to grow hemp in their backyard, and we'll give you some seeds for free and show you how to grow it. We grow it in our backyard as well as on farms, and we just pick fresh flowers and throw it in the blenders for our juice. For myself, I do it with a hemp protein shake, and for our son, who's the one that got us started, he gets a fresh flower along with plenty of our raw CBD oil, just like the ones that you can buy on our website every day.
And so when you're talking about, CBD and, obviously it's awesome. It's just like it's a plant, right? But so many people are still worried, is it going to make them high?
Yeah. And that's a common conception because Americans mostly, we think of, cannabis, and we think of Cheech and Chong, and we think of marijuana, and we think of Reefer Madness, the movie, which was created in the 30s to make confusion, so they would pass a bill in 1937 called the Marijuana Tax Act, which made it illegal for farmers, American farmers who've been growing hemp, paying their taxes with hemp. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson grew hemp, and it made it basically illegal to grow hemp in 1937. There was a real smear campaign because the guys that were printing paper, the Hearsts, who owned all the paper printing processes, companies, as well as the newspapers, and DuPonts, who were making, paints out of oil-based, petroleum-based, products. And then there was the cotton that people were doing to make clothes. They did not want to compete with hemp, and this was their opportunity to smear the plant. And so they did, and they succeeded. So now that hemp is back and fully legal, thanks to the 2018 Farm Bill, we can all grow it. We can use it for paper. We can use it for clothes. We can use it for medicine. We can use it for the best food available. It's the superfood of superfoods with all 21 amino acids. It truly is the green buffalo of plants that has given so much to us. But again, hemp is a product that has less than 0.3% THC. And THC is the only thing that gets you high. And when it's at that minuscule trace, heck, you'll get more THC walking down the streets in California than you would 0.3% in a hemp plant. So no, CBD will not get you high. Hemp will not get you high. And another thing is you have to heat the plant to induce the intoxicating effects, which is called decarboxylation, the tongue twister. But we are a raw CBD company, so all of our processes are cold extraction. So we always say, if you want to get high, find that high THC marijuana plant and heat it. If you want to get healthy, find that miracle hemp plant and eat it.
And so when you're talking about, let's say we take a seed and we put it in a pot and we grow it and we pull it out when it's ready, I guess. How do you know when it's ready? Is it just when it sprouts, I guess? Or is there a flower that comes out you were talking about?
Absolutely. So there's a flower that comes out. You can Google the pictures. I mean, it's so amazing now with YouTube and Google out there that you can just, see that there's the flowers. They blossom, and there's like this white sugary looking substance that comes around the flowers. That's the trichomes. And those trichomes, when they're developed, have all the cannabinoids, and that's basically where all that CBD is. So usually about 2 to 3 months after your plant starts the flowering process, that's when you can harvest them. So, and again, go to our blog and ask us questions. We do videos to show you how to do it. If you can grow tomatoes, you can grow hemp as well.
When you're saying harvest, does that just mean picking it?
Yep.
Okay.
That's when you harvest them.
There's going to be people out there like me that are going, I kill plastic flowers. So I'm just, I want to make sure that we all understand. So when you're harvesting it, that's about, you said 3 to 4 months before it blooms. And then like what you do for your family, you just pick it and put it in the juicer and ready to go.
Every morning I take some, my wife takes some, my family, my kids take it. It is the absolute superfood of superfoods. the CBD and all of the different cannabinoids and the flavonoids and the terpenoids and the omega-3, 6s and the chlorophyll and the fatty acids and the amino acids. It is just incredible what this plant just sets our body up for success. And our own body makes CBD naturally in the form of what's called 2-AG. It's a really super long word. So it's just an incredible plant, and we've seen it help so many thousands upon thousands of families. And we're so excited to answer questions and educate and get this product into the people's hands and into people's lives so they can see the power of this miracle plant in their families as well.
Now, you did say that there was a small trace of THC, but you said walking down certain streets, you might even get more of an effect. However,
Sure.
For those that are really concerned, with their jobs and there's lots of, drug tests, can that show up in a drug test?
Anything is possible. I mean, we've been around doing this since the first farm bill passed in 2014. And I can count on one hand the number of times anybody had any issues with any kind of drug test. And that was only in cases where they were taking thousands of milligrams a week. And they were usually fighting cancer, and they were going to places that were looking for trace amounts, like probation type of place that looks for trace amounts of THC. Typical employment, drug tests have a buffer. And at the normal doses that people take our products, there just shouldn't be a problem. Of course, it's possible. If it's something you're super concerned about, then we all have to make our choices. And there are other companies out there that offer products that have 0 THC. The 0 THC ones, they're not as effective because, again, you're processing the plant, you're eliminating parts of the plant that help the plant work together in what's called an entourage effect. But everyone has different priorities. Another thing you can do is if you take our products and just use the topicals, those don't pass the blood barrier. So there's really no way that a topical could show up in a blood test or a urine test because it doesn't pass that blood barrier. So we have some people that are just too worried about it, and that's fine. Either shop at a good company that's got great reviews and has been around forever and you trust their brand, and take a product that has, it's called broad spectrum, but 0 THC. But the most important thing is that you look at the COAs, the certificate of analysis. So every single one of our products has the COA on the product page, because even the companies that say there's no THC, usually there still is a teeny little bit in most cases. But again, it's just such a small thing. You're not going to get high, and at normal doses of CBD, it's just not going to show up on a drug test. We would even, if you had any concerns with it, we've even sent drug tests out with the product for people to try themselves. You can go to CVS and get one for $20 yourself and test yourself and be like, oh yeah, I'm totally good. Now, we can't help it if you went to a Leonard Skinner concert and you passed the joint and you smoked it. You can't blame that on us, right? So just at the end of the day, our products won't get you high, and they don't show up on drug tests that we've ever seen, but there is a chance, so you have to make your own decisions appropriately.
And now, what is the difference between when people are talking about hemp and marijuana, CBD? I feel like there's a lot of confusion between all of those, terminologies and labels. Can you kind of break that down? I know you told us what CBD is, but again, is hemp the same? Is marijuana the same?
Yep. So real simply, cannabis is the name of the plant. What the name of the plant cannabis has been given as it is its plant name. Now, the name marijuana was a name that those guys back in the 30s who spelled it with an H gave it to give it a scary name so they could try and link it to minorities and try and get it that it would be passed as a bad thing, the devil's lettuce. So that's actually a slang term that was made in Mexico. So technically it's on our books though here in our country in the US. So marijuana is defined as anything with more than 0.3% THC. Hemp is defined as anything with less than 0.3%, which is a teeny little fraction of THC. And so hemp, we've always known that was there for making ropes on boats, and our Navy used hemp forever. Even in World War II, they lifted the Marijuana Tax Act reform so they could make ropes for our Navy, for the anchors. And so again, the difference is hemp is 0.3% THC or less. Marijuana in our country is defined as anything more than THC. They're both cannabis. Cannabis is the name of the plant, but based on the genetics, hemp has high CBD, very, very, very little THC, less than 0.3%. Marijuana is considered as anything that has high THC, usually around 10 or 15% THC, and sometimes even higher. Again, THC is the only part of the plant that gets you high. If you want to get healthy, look for the high CBD strains. If you want to get high recreationally, have a good time, order some pizza, go ahead and find that recreational marijuana at a dispensary in a state that has it.
Now, when we're looking at the plant when it's being, blooming, is that a different strain then? That's just the under 0.3 making it hemp versus marijuana?
So when the plant's blooming, I mean, the plant is always defined by genetics. So you always want to make sure you're using seeds that have been certified, either hemp or certified as marijuana. So the blooming is just what all cannabis plants do. Now, here's the trick part. Only the female plants actually bloom. So the male plants make these little pollen sacs that shoot out pollen. So you need a male plant and a female plant to grow within, a certain distance. Usually 10 feet or 20 feet will do it. And the male plant earlier in the cycle will grow a little pod that shoots out pollen, and that will get onto the female flower, and that flower will then produce seeds. And that's how the cannabis plant life cycle works. Wow, I know it's a little deep in there, but yeah, there's male and female plants.
They're basically reproducing, like that's
you got it.
Yeah. So let's say you took the seeds, and obviously we would want, if we wanted to grow our own, in a sense, hemp, right? Because it's less than 0.3%. We would just want to make sure that those seeds are certified as hemp. And that way you never have to worry how much it blooms. If you have a male and a female, that you're just making more of those kind of seeds. If you want marijuana, then you want that to be certified as marijuana, and that is over 0.3, because then that is going to have THC, which then has other effects that, for the most part, most of us watching, are most likely looking for the benefits of CBD without getting high. And so that's, what we're talking about is this miracle plant that is helping us. I love that. I did not know that. I've always been so confused on that.
It's confusing. It's confusing. That's why we're doing this.
I love it. I'm hoping everyone watching right now is like, yes, now I get it, right? So, when you're talking about passing a drug test, you did talk about urine, you talked about blood. What about hair follicle tests?
Again, I mean, wherever the THC shows up, it shows up. Typically, THC stores in our fat cells. So it has a lot of different indicators. So it depends if you're healthy, what your body weight index is, things like that. But typically, if you're in good shape and you're hydrated, and you end up smoking a joint or something, it's usually out of your system in a week or so. If you smoke all the time and you've ordered too many pizzas and Cheez-Its, then it might stick around, for even a month or two. So it really just depends. But yeah, at the end of the day, what we're talking about for CBD products and the trace amounts of THC, it just shouldn't be a problem unless someone's looking for trace amounts. But there has to be buffers for employment, because literally in our air, there is THC, especially in places like California where it's legal, or you sit next to a stoplight and you see a big cloud of smoke coming out. Well, the chances are that there's THC in that. I don't know why people do that. You're like, huge clouds come out of these vapes, and, more chances than not, there's THC in there, and that just got into your lungs. So there has to be a buffer when, you're taking a drug test. And we've seen a lot of employers, they even know now when they see the test come back, they're like, oh, you must be taking THC, or excuse me, you must be taking a CBD oil product, because we see that trace amount of THC. And there's already states right now that don't allow testing for THC. New York, Nevada, there's a few others. I'm sure California is going to be here soon. So, and there's a really, really good chance next year that THC is going to be federally legal. There's what's called the MORS Act that's on the books right now. So at some point, it's just going to be like alcohol, and it's not going to be demonized and stigmatized, and they're not going to test for it, because people will understand the medical benefits, and it's recreationally legal. So it's like the same thing as how you would treat tobacco or alcohol.
Well, when you're talking about companies that have 0 THC in their CBD, I know this is a question that many people ask. Does that mean that they're not using the whole plant because they're having to take something out of it?
Yeah, I mean, they're processing the plant. They're they're pulling out one particular thing, like it's called isolation or isolate. So they take just the CBD out of the plant. And so now you're using just a plant that's like the difference between a nice, beautiful, fresh, organic orange that you squeeze that morning, and you have that wonderful orange juice with the whole plant and the pulp and the vitamin D and the vitamin C and everything that's in there, versus taking a vitamin C tablet and taking it from GNC and taking that tablet. And there's lots of science out there that shows you all those multivitamins and all those like vitamin C tablets that you take, our bodies don't digest them. They just end up in the ocean. So you need to take something your body can recognize, which is an orange for vitamin C and which is a whole plant for CBD.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. Now, you talked about, CBD and, having the effects with your son. You said within 5 minutes when he took it at the pumpkin patch that he was then having a great time. How fast should we see results? And if we don't see results right away, should we increase the dosage?
So everyone's bodies are different and everyone's receptors are different. So we have these endocannabinoid system, which is made up of CB1 receptors, which are primarily in the head. And then we have CB2 receptors, which are primarily in our gut and our nervous system. So we always recommend starting slow, going low and starting slow. First of all, so you can kind of get a sense of how CBD and whole plant cannabis CBD oil works with your body. And and you don't want to waste it. If taking half a dropper or 10 milligrams does the trick, then there's no reason to take a full dropper or a whole bunch of droppers. You don't want to waste it. So it just really depends. Everybody is different. If you're not getting the desired effects after a week or so, yeah, I mean, I would take more, right? And the number one, there's two reasons why CBD doesn't work for people that I've seen over the years. Number one, all CBD is not created equal. So again, there's a huge difference between a whole plant, full spectrum CBD oil, which is basically like juicing the plant, raw CBD oil like ours. And then there's the companies that, maybe getting it from China, that's a white powdery substance like fake sugar, and then calling that CBD. So those are very different things. That's the number one reason why people they're like, I don't get it. CBD didn't work for me. Very big difference. The number two reason is you didn't take enough. So you need to work with you need to work with a company that understands the plant, understands the way it's intended to be consumed, and you need to make sure that you're taking enough to experience the benefits.
So when you talked about broad spectrum, full spectrum, obviously full spectrum is the whole plant. I've seen broad spectrum a lot also on different bottles. What is broad spectrum? That's them pulling stuff out?
Yeah, I mean, broad spectrum can basically mean what it means right now, and none of these terms are really defined. They're not defined by the FDA yet. But right now, broad spectrum means that it doesn't have THC. So it could have like a little bit of CBD and maybe a little bit of CBG, or a little bit of CBD and a little bit of terpenes, which are the things that make the plant smell, which have their own therapeutic benefits. But realistically, a broad spectrum could just be that white, fake, powdery, sugary CBD that our body doesn't have any idea what to do with. And it actually can end up clogging our receptors, is what some research has shown. Again, our bodies and this plant talk to each other through the endocannabinoid system. Our body makes CBD in the form of 2-AG. This plant makes CBD. This plant literally clicks the receptors, activates our receptors in our own body. We are DNA matches. So we've basically grown, we're like brothers from another mother. So we're basically meant for each other. So when that's the case, you leave the plant exactly as it was intended. And again, just consume it. The absolute best way to consume it is to have some fresh flower that you either pick that morning or in your freezer and throw it in the shake, or you use a product like ours that is whole plant raw CBD oil, which represents the similar same thing as doing that, cutting that fresh flower and putting it in your morning juice or your protein powder shake.
And so, when you said isolate before, so isolate just means broad spectrum, because broad spectrum is not full spectrum. So because I've seen those words, and I'm sure a lot of other people have too. Well, it'll say isolate, it will say broad spectrum, it will say full spectrum. And that's really confusing, because sometimes you think, oh, full spectrum, that must have THC, but that's not the case, because if you don't know what you're looking at, right? Now we understand full spectrum of a CBD plant, if it's less than 0.3, is technically hemp, which means that it's full spectrum, meaning the whole plant, which I love. That's awesome. So my other question that I have for you is, you talked about CBD, CBG, and then we haven't really gone into CBDA. Can we talk about what all these letters mean? Because this sounds like an alphabet soup right now. So can we kind of break it up? And so we heard what CBD is, but now with CBD, there's categories under CBD, right, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so let's talk about CBDA and CBG and all those fun letters.
Yeah, so basically, again, so these are just acronyms for long words. CBG is cannabigerol, CBD is cannabidiol. So when that little seedling comes out of the ground, it's actually all CBGA. They call it the mother cannabinoid. And then based on the genetics of the plant, it's either going to go to the left and become a hemp plant, high in CBD, very low in THC, or go to the right and become high THC, which is low in CBD, which is called marijuana. So CBGA, the A stands for acidic. So the plant, when it comes out of the ground, is acidic. And that's what CBGA is. And then, so if it goes to the left and becomes hemp, then it's CBDA. So that's raw CBD. So that's the acid form of CBD. And that's how we make our products. 99% of the other companies out there, they are using the old model of decarboxylating or heating or processing the CBD out of the hemp plant. And there's no reason to do that unless you wanted to activate the THC and get high. We're not trying to get high, we're trying to get healthy. That's what worked for us. That was the miracle, eye-opening experience for our son at the pumpkin patch, was raw CBD through research with Dr. Raphael Meshulam and some doctors out of Canada back in 2014, showed us that CBDA is 1,000 times more effective than CBD, isolate, at treating nausea and anxiety. So you can go to pubmed.gov, G-O-V, and type in the search box CBDA, anxiety, nausea, hit enter, and you'll find that study. And so we already knew it because we saw it firsthand, and we've seen it thousands of times, with our clients all over the world. But that's the difference. CBDA, raw CBD, from basically juicing the plant or cold extraction like orange juice, making freshly squeezed orange juice, is what we do. So that's the difference with 101 CBD.
So when you're talking, so I understand CBDA now, and I understand that if it goes to the right, it's hemp. If it goes to the left, it's marijuana. But that's why it's important to know where these seeds are coming from, because if you have a certified seed that is hemp, then you don't have to worry about which way it goes. Am I accurate on that?
Correct.
Okay, so now I'm still a little confused on the CBG. I'm still a little confused on that. So that's the mother plant, or no, am I wrong?
Mother cannabinoid.
Okay.
So that's when the seedling comes out of the ground, it's all CBGA, and then it goes left to CBDA or right to THCA. So now we have plants that are made out of mostly CBGA. So now in our Boost product, you get a plant that is higher in CBG. It still has plenty of CBD in it, but it has higher amounts of CBGA, the raw form of CBG, in it as well. And I've noticed with CBG, it gives me more focus, it gives me more energy, it gives me more mental clarity. Anybody who's like suffering from kind of like, ADHD or whatever term the doctors want to give it to prescribe medicine for you. Anyone who's just kind of a little scatterbrained, it really helps with focus and clarity. I've heard from a lot of people. So try it yourself. We have some links on the website. If you sign up for our email list, we send out free products all the time to try it, see for yourself. And we have some VIP clients that and insiders that get to try the products for free, and some brand ambassadors and things like that. But try CBG and see. Like for me, it gives me it's like taking an energy drink for me without the jitters or the come down or anything like that.
So when you're saying CBGA, I'm thinking in my head as I'm trying to picture this. So when it's coming out of the ground, does that mean that before it goes to the right, that means you pick it before then to get the best effects of the CBGA? Was that right?
That's how it used to be. But now they make plants. Now there's genetics that we have that instead of it going to the left or the right, it stays CBG all the way through.
Oh,
Brand new genetics, like this year.
wow.
Like nobody even knows this. This is so brand new that we'll all know about it in 6 months or 12 months, but now you guys are getting information that 99% of the country has no idea, or the world.
So cool. And so if somebody wants those, are those like those seeds then you buy like similar, making sure they're, certified as just CBGA, and that's what they just stay as. And then you can get ones that are certified as CBDA certified. And so that's amazing. That's so exciting. Okay. So I'm learning with you guys. This is awesome. Yep. And I'm hoping you all are as excited as I am as you're learning all this, because, you go to all these places with CBD and, nobody really seems to know how to answer any of these questions. And I will say, they all are not created equal. And when you're going to, let's say, a gas station or and I know it's crazy that they sell them at the gas station, but when you're looking at all these different things, how does somebody know wherever you're going, whether it be, a dispensary, a gas station, a grocery store, how do you know what you're getting is a good product?
Well, one of my life lessons is I don't eat crab legs at all you can eat Chinese buffets. And I wouldn't get my CBD from a gas station or, Urban Outfitters. So the first thing that you always want to do is go to their website. So if you're going to buy some CBD, go to their website. It's got to be a good looking website. They got to have their story. And then you have to look at those COAs and look at those reviews. Remember, the COAs tell you exactly what's in the product. And the reviews, they got to have at least 100 reviews read the reviews. Make sure they're real. And they can use third-party companies that verify reviews, like Trustpilot is a great company. And you can see the reviews with the stories. And if you go through our reviews, you'll just be blown away. I know I was. And when I hear the stories, sometimes we can barely keep the Kleenex in stock because it's so incredible and powerful. And we're so humbled and just blessed to be able to help people the way we can. And it's not us doing it, it's the plant. But that's our mission, is to continue to educate and get this plant into the family's hands that they can try it and see for themselves, how it can help them. That's why we're doing, I believe, 61 questions right now.
Right? We're going down a list, man. We're going down this list. When by the time this is over, everyone should literally feel like they just graduated understanding what the basics and even then some. So let's talk about side effects. Are there any side effects with CBD?
So that's a question we get a lot. So most people used to come to us for pain. Then it was anxiety, and then it was sleep. So the people that came for pain, they'd come back and buy more, and they'd be like, wow, I feel a lot more mellow. My coworkers think I'm a lot more laid back, and I'm sleeping great. So people are so used to side effects being a negative thing. But again, CBD helps our body find homeostasis or balance. So if you're in balance, your neurotransmitters in your brain aren't firing as much with all the overstimulation in the world we live today, especially these little phones, which our grandkids are going to be like, why do you guys call these things phones? That's like one of 100 things that they do. They're little internet machines, really. Anyways, so it just depends on everybody, how you use the product. Side effects can be a positive thing. Some people will notice that, it can make them a little sleepy. And usually that's because they're not sleeping well, and the CBD will help their body recognize, oh, it's time for a power nap. And then they'll take a power nap and wake up refreshed. So, as far as side effects go, we don't really see any, hear any, but, anything's possible. And we always recommend you consult with your physician and have a conversation about it. But as far as side effects go, like I said, what we hear most of the time is people are just more mellow and sleep better at night.
And what about, can you get addicted to it?
Yeah, the World Health Organization came out a few years back and proved that it's not addictive. CBD is also in broccoli and kale. So I suppose it's possible if you're addicted to broccoli, there might be a chance. But other than that, no. CBD is made in our bodies. I don't know if we can be addicted to our bodies. But no, there are no like opioid triggers or any tricking of the brain or anything like that. CBD is as natural and healthy and non-addictive as eating a bowl of salad.
Is there certain times of the day?
The O Cannabis Conference and Expo returns to Toronto June 1st through the 3rd, and there are still good booth locations available. This exciting event is free for cannabis retailers and will feature Tommy Chung receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award at the O Cannabis Industry Awards. For more information about exhibiting or to register to attend, go to ocannabis.com. That's OCANNABIZ.com.
you should take it? Will it make you sleepy? You had talked about a boost product that gives you more energy. So is there different products to look at for different times of the day?
Well, again, so CBD helps our bodies find homeostasis. So a lot of people take CBD in the morning with chronic pain or if they hurt themselves or something. So that'll help with that. CBD only lasts about 8 hours. So they'll usually take more in the afternoon and sometimes even another dose, at night. So we do have different products. Some people will take a boost or an alleviate in the morning, and then they'll take a chill in the afternoon if they're stressed out, or they'll take a boost in the afternoon because they had that food coma because they had too big of a lunch. And then they'll take the chill at night. But, then again, CBD, all of our products are made from the same raw CBD oil. They just have one little, organic infusion. The chill has a little passion flower. It's a little purple flower, kind of like chamomile flower for tea. The boost has a little CBG in there, a little extra CBG in that strain, along with American ginseng. And then the alleviate has a little white willow bark organic infusion, which is nature's aspirin. Literally go bite a tree. Native Americans found it, thousands of years ago, helped them. And so those are just the little subtle differences. At the end of the day, the raw CBD oil does 99% of the lifting. Those little infusions just nudge it in the right direction.
Now, you talked about the willow bark and, different passion flower and ginseng. Is there anything that somebody should be concerned about? Let's say they're taking certain medications, and I know certain medications can't have aspirin due to blood thinners and such. Is there any, way that they shouldn't take this because they're taking this medication? Or is there any, reactions regarding that?
Well, again, we always advise to, check with your medical professional and your healthcare, doctor and what have you. Again, CBD helps our bodies find homeostasis. And one of the things that it does is helps our liver. There's this enzyme called P450. It helps our liver function better. So what does that mean? It metabolizes better. So what does that mean? It means that a lot of people that don't need to take as much of a particular pharmaceutical drug, especially one that says don't take with grapefruit juice, because grapefruit juice uses the same enzyme in the liver, P450. So what we've seen, a lot of people who come to us, they average taking over 4 pharmaceuticals a day. And after a month of using our products, less than 1 a day. Wow. So again, you want to make sure that you check with your doctor. Most cases, what we've seen in our experience is that you don't have to take as much of, a particular pharmaceutical because it helps metabolize it faster. So you don't have to take as much. And maybe, hopefully, if you're eating right and exercising and drinking lots of water and taking great supplements like our CBD oil, you might even not have to take them at all. We see that a lot. And so, but again, always consult with your doctor. Always make sure that you're, understanding all the medications that you're taking. But, there's a lot of people that take a lot less of prescriptions, after using great products like ours, or take, none at all. We see that all the time.
So how does somebody take the product? I know I've seen it in, baked in cookies and brownies and lollipops. And I know there's a thing called tinctures that have oils. Is there a better way to, administer it or, take it? And does each one, are they equal? Like if I were to eat a brownie with CBD in it, would that be the same as if I were to, put oil under my tongue?
Well, again, so anything that goes through digestion gets broken down to about 5% absorption rate. So if you took 100 milligrams of CBD and you put it in a brownie and ate it, then only about 5 milligrams would be digested or, brought into the actual blood system. Now, if you did a sublingual oil, which all of our products are, under the tongue for 5 to 7 minutes, every minute is a roughly 10% more absorption rate. So after 5 to 7 minutes, you can get up to 70% absorption rate just by taking. So you can take, if you took 100 milligrams, which is a lot, you would get roughly 70 milligrams into your bloodstream. So a huge difference doing it sublingually versus eating a brownie or anything like that.
So I'm thinking of some of the kiddos, right, that have different conditions that we're seeing CBD be miraculous and totally game changer. A lot of those kiddos cannot keep things under their tongue for 5 to 7 minutes. So let's say
a lot of adults can't.
Right. And so let's say they're keeping it under their tongue for 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Does that mean they need to take it more often throughout the day potentially? And are they still only getting about 5%?
Again, so if they're going to take it, orally is always best. Holding it as long as you can. Some kids can only take it in juice. So you just have to put more in there. That's all there is to it. CBD lasts about 8 to 10 hours in your blood system. So we always recommend, if it's a chronic issue that you're trying to, treat, if you will, that you do it at least twice a day. And if it's severe, then probably 3 times a day. And you just got to kind of find, it's just like anything. You got to see what works best for you. If you're the parent, then you just monitor, take notes, and notice any changes in behavior. Always use the scientific method. So only introduce one new thing or take one thing out at a time, so you can isolate exactly what is helping and what might not be helping.
And so when you talk about, looking at those effects, if let's say they have to take it more throughout the day, when you're talking about the milligrams, I know I get a lot of questions about this from just some of my friends and family. If they look, hypothetically, let's say they look at one of your bottles, and let's say your bottle's 800 milligrams, but maybe they want 1600 milligrams or 2400 milligrams. You explained this to me once before, and every time I try to explain it, nobody seems to think I'm making any sense. So I'm hoping you can explain it really good for everyone here. So do you actually have to buy the bottle that's 2400 milligrams, or can you just buy the 800 milligrams and then just increase your dose to get to 2400 milligrams?
Absolutely. So the 800 milligrams, if you do a full dropper, is around 25 milligrams in the dropper. So if you wanted to do 75 milligrams, you would do 3 full droppers of your 800 milligram bottle. Now in the 2400 milligram, one dropper full is about 75 milligrams in one dropper. So you just have to do one. That's it. You just have to take more if you have lesser milligrams. And if you have higher milligrams, you just take less. And it's on the package. It tells you how many milligrams are in each one.
Though. It's just less or more. And that's what I've tried to explain, but I know often people, it just, for some reason, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. Even when you explained it, I was like, wait, really? You just take more or less? I don't know why. It just, you think when you get the bottle, that's what it is. So if you see an 800 milligram bottle, that doesn't necessarily mean you're taking a full dropper is not 800 milligrams.
That's the whole bottle. Yeah, you'd have to
bottle.
drink the whole bottle to get 800 milligrams of CBD.
So if you were to take, let's say what you do with your family, you would take the whole plant, right? And you juice that. How many milligrams approximately is the whole plant in that form?
So when we will throw in, 2 or 3 little flower buds, the size of a quarter. So about 3 of those. And that's about 150 milligrams roughly. So 50 milligrams per bud. And then we'll also throw in another couple 100 milligrams of our raw CBDA oil. Now remember, my son still drinks his CBD because obviously we have access to tons. And so, he has never had to take it under his tongue. He probably should, but, I guess that's one of the benefits of having discovered a brand new product, and you being the person, you have tons of access to it. So he just takes it in his juice. So he needs, like we were saying, he needs a lot in there because he's taking it in his juice and his freshly squeezed, we use oranges and lemons and celery and wild blueberries and kale and probiotics and apples and all that with tons of CBD and raw hemp flowers. And he gets about, 200 or 300 milligrams, and he does his juice twice a day. And he even makes the juice with us now. And he'll even tell, his mom, or my wife, Molly, that, it's time for my juice. And he's on if the juice isn't made by 9 a.m., he's on it. Like, what's going on here? And so that's how he takes it. But yeah, under the tongue is the best way to do it. Unless you have some fresh hemp in your backyard or access to a whole bunch of CBD, then you want to take it under the tongue. Otherwise, put a bunch more in the juice.
So when they're actually blossoming, how long does it take? So let's say you plant it and you're making it, and you pull, you said 2 to 3 buds of the flowers off. How long before I have to go back out my backyard because I want to do it every day? Like how long is it going to take for those flowers to come back?
Well, so the flowers don't come back. It's a seasonal flower. So what you do is when it's time to harvest, you can actually harvest them all, or the big buds, the big flowers, and then put them in a big Ziploc bag, put the name of the seed on there, or I just put CBDA. And then you put the date when you harvest them and throw them in the freezer. They're good for, 2 years.
how many buds do you get from, I guess, one seed? I don't really know a plant, I guess.
Yeah, usually you can get anywhere from 1 ounce, which is maybe half of one of those big Ziploc bags, all the way up to a pound, depending upon how big the plant gets and how well you take care of it. And a pound, would be like 30 of those Ziploc bags filled up.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that could last you quite a bit.
For years. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause you're only using, for your son, for example, you're only using 2 to 3 of those buds, per morning. So you get it sounds like, I'm thinking a Ziploc bag. I'm assuming, I've never seen the picture of the buds. So the bud's very little, I assume. So you would have plenty just from even just one plant for that season.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You could, and in California, you can grow 6 cannabis plants, which is more for THC. And then you can also grow hemp. Hemp's, believe it or not, it's harder to grow hemp in California than it is to grow cannabis, because it's just crazy. And even though hemp's federally legal and marijuana is federally illegal, it's actually trickier to grow hemp. Some cities like Ojai, where one of our stores is, made it illegal to grow hemp in their city, even though they have 3 dispensaries of marijuana. I wonder why that happened. So It's just silliness, complete silliness. It's a plant like tomatoes, and nobody's going to get in any trouble for growing 6 hemp plants in your backyard. Neil Young gave me hemp seeds at a festival called, what was it called? It was out there in Coachella. Oh, I can't remember. I call it Old Man Coachella because Neil Young was there, and he threw out hemp seeds to everybody in the crowd. He goes, take these home, cross the lines, and break the law, because hemp, and as Jack Herrera said, one of the greatest cannabis advocates of all time, he said, hemp may not save the world, but it's the only thing that can. And that's because it can feed us, it can shelter us, it can be medicine. We can make cars out of it that run on it. We're going to make plastics that get rid of all this horrible plastic in the ocean. We make batteries out of it that are 8 times more efficient than lithium batteries. And when the battery's dead, you can literally throw it in a field and it would biodegrade into the dirt in 80 days. I mean, bioplastics, bioplants, bamboo, hemp, we can make everything. We can make our phones out of it. We can make our phone covers out of it. We can make these sunglasses, this hat, out of something that's grown out of the earth and can be regenerated. Hemp can be regrown every 3 months instead of a tree that takes 25 years. This plant truly is the miracle plant. It's the green buffalo. And I'm just so happy to call hemp my partner and my friend.
I love that. And so you were saying, it's every 3 months it reblooms. Is that harvesting? So 4 times a year it's going to harvest.
You can.
I love that. And so let's talk a little bit about topicals, because we barely touched on topicals. So I know that 101 CBD has topicals. What are topicals used for?
Mostly for pain, that and like maybe rashes or like psoriasis or eczema, and also for skin rejuvenation. So bug bites, scrapes, pain. Topicals only go so far. It can't get all the way deep in there if you've got some like back pain issues, or, you have some real damage going on. The tinctures get in the blood and it gets all the way down to the cellular level and the nerve endings, and it can really help with those types of pains. But topicals are usually for, aches and pains from golfing or working out too hard, or maybe you fell off a ladder, just more minor kind of everyday pains than the severe stuff that the tinctures would be better for, because it's sublingual. But we have a great product called Raw Renew, which the women love, and I'll let you speak to it. I use the Raw Relief for pain, and it also gets rid of like little age marks and things like that on me, which is crazy, it blows me away. But you can speak more to the Raw Renew, and I know the women just go nuts about it.
Well, I'm really excited right now because I'm using Raw Renew, and I did take before pictures. I'm hoping my after pictures are going to be awesome. So I'm really looking forward to that. But it's so neat because it's like a cream, but it's not. It's more of like an oil-based, almost like a petroleum a little bit, but it's way healthier, and so like a Vaseline-ish kind of feeling. But it dries pretty fast. So I literally like coat my entire face at night now, and I just wait for it to kind of dry. And I'm really excited about it because as a woman, many of us know we spend a fortune on anything that says it's going to do this, and that. And I know from everything I've learned from you, Justin, is that the CBD is just magical. And so I'm just very hopeful. I even put it like under my eyes because I'm kind of curious what's going to happen with dark circles and fine lines. I'm like, oh, I'm hoping it helps on that too. But you know, your wife had told me that it helped with some discoloration that she was getting on her skin. And so, you know, it's so fun getting older. Not only anybody thinks that's so fun, especially as a woman, we start getting like these like weird marks on our faces that you're like, where did that freckle come from? Where did that mark come from on my face? And your wife had said that she'd used it throughout the summer and it's like literally disappeared. And so that same night I was like, where's mine? I just started like putting it all over my face. And I'm really excited. I can tell you when I wake up, my skin feels very soft. I'm not really having to use any moisturizer now in the morning before my makeup because my skin just feels so great from putting it on the night before. So I think it's just like soaking everything in. So guys, definitely check it out. If you're looking for a product that you know is not only going to be beneficial to like, you know, marks on your face or potentially fine lines, dark circles, I'll let you know about that. I'm praying for that. And, but you also know that the CBD is getting into your system and helping you in other ways. That's how I feel, at least. Am I wrong on that?
No, you're right on.
So I'm real excited. Now, I haven't had to use the pain one, luckily, because I don't typically have a lot of pain, but I have it on hand. I do know that my son's father, who's a bodybuilder, he is constantly like rolling on the roll-on and doing different things. And our chiropractor, whom we have come to our house once a week, she uses all the 101 CBD products that we provide for her to basically use on my son and my son's father during their treatments. So, and she's selling us that the CBD is, she's seen things that she's never seen before, and that's as a chiropractor. So I think that's pretty exciting.
Heck yeah.
So now for those with the topicals, is there the same kind of thing that you need to be looking out for when you're looking for, you know, different quality of the product? Because I will say, I can go into, I'll just say, I can go into Kohl's and I can see CBD hand cream and I'll look at it and I have no clue. Is that a good product? Is that not a good product? I just know I trust 101 CBD, so I don't even look at, you know, to buy another one, but I'm seeing it everywhere. I popping up in just regular random stores. So what's your suggestions when people are walking in and seeing that kind of thing?
Again, you know, not all CBD is created equal. You know, it's like you go to the gas pump and, you know, there's different prices and different octanes, and it's the same case here. Again, and mom was right. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. If you think you can buy a CBD product for $10 at Kohl's, is going to be the same product that you buy, you know, from a company that's, you know, really understands the plant, understands the extraction process, and really models their entire, you know, ethos of, you know, around representing the plant in its purest, best form. It's just different. They're way different processes. So, you know, it's possible that you could get something, you know, from Kohl's for that's good CBD. But again, I'll go back to my crab legs at an all-you-can-eat buffet, Chinese buffet. It's like, no, I'm not going to go get crab legs at a Chinese buffet. If I want crab legs, I'm going to get fresh crab legs at a seafood restaurant. And so, you know, again, so you want to make sure, you know, you don't buy your olive oil at Kohl's either. You know, I don't know what companies are there, and maybe there are some good companies. I hope they are. And the way to know is to go to their website, like I said, look at their reviews, understand their COAs, understand their process of making it. Does it feel like they're a company that really cares about their clients? Do they have really raving fans? Or does it feel like they're a company that's just here because CBD is popular and they can make a few bucks? And, you know, trust your instincts. Go with your gut. Would be my recommendation.
And I just have one more question that I can think of. I want to go back real quickly to the tinctures. Can you put it in something warm? I know you had said you put it in your son's juice. You know, but I also heard you say that, you know, some of these other companies are heating up the product, which then means it's not cold extracted. So my thought is, can you only put it in something cold, or does that not matter?
It doesn't really matter. Again, for the decarboxylation to take place, you'd have to have it above like 200 degrees for 10 minutes, or at least maybe even 30 minutes for the CBDA to convert into CBD. So I wouldn't worry about it. I don't think anyone drinks their coffee that hot, but it's not as good as taking it under the tongue, and it'd be better if it was in juice. But iced tea would be fine, and we're going to have an iced tea product out later on this year, hopefully, once California gets all of their CBD regulations in place. We're on the California Hemp Council, and there's some cool products out there that we'll be coming out with. Tea will be fun, a nice organic tea that you can have. It's not going to be as effective, obviously, like I said, as the tinctures under the tongue, but some people don't want to take them that way. So we're going to offer a couple of different food and beverage options soon as we can out here in California.
And let's just leave them with some of the ailments that it might help. I know that we had seen a really cool documentary called CBD Nation that I know you recommend. And they talk a lot about, some great testimonials from what people have been using CBD for. Are we allowed to talk about, certain ailments as what people are talking about? Or do you want to, let them know where to kind of look for that, I guess?
Well, you're more conservative than I am, and you're SHIA compliant, better. I'm the entrepreneur who's out there, healing the world. So you can't. I'm the advocate. So you don't worry about me. I always move forward. So if you watch CBD Nation, which was put out by Steve DeAngelis, who's a great cannabis advocate, him and his brother, there's just a lot of amazing stories. Make sure you got the Kleenex; it'll blow you away. And it reminds all of us what we're doing here. With our Heal the World brand ambassadors. And, again, the only thing I know CBD doesn't help with is the dishes. But then again, Dr. Bronner, who was awarded Hemp Business Awards along with us, we were named by Chloe and Bob Hoban out there for the Cannabis Globes Hemp Business Awards. They make a hemp seed oil, Dr. Bronner's, that you could do your dishes with. So heck, CBD can even do the dishes. So, at the end of the day, it's amazing. You got to try it for yourself. There's research that's being done. There's tons of research in Israel that's coming out, in Canada and other places that don't have the FDA, that's really set up for pharmaceutical companies to jump through hoops of, spend $1 billion to jump through all the FDA hoops. And there's obviously kickbacks and weird stuff going on there. So we have to go to other countries many times who don't really care about kickbacks and government, supervision, because they just care about their people being healthy. I mean, we work with Ecuador and Latin American countries that actually have laws in place that every citizen is to be getting a hemp seed oil, hemp oil, CBD oil for free, delivered to their door like the old days of the milkman. So there's countries out there that are way more progressive, that know that this hemp plant, this cannabis plant, can really help our bodies in so many ways. I mean, like I said, we got started because this miracle plant cleared the fog for our son and is allowing him to be a healthy, happy kid. And that's how we got started. And then it started, people coming to us for pain, and then anxiety, and then sleep. And then we started hearing their stories, and then there was fibromyalgia, and then it was neuropathy. And we're not making any claims, sir, but these are what the people came for. And then they came back and told us these incredible stories. We have lots of them on our YouTube channel. If you go through there, we had a guy on MS, and he came to us 13 months ago, and he was in a wheelchair. We had an office that had stairs back in the day. And he couldn't come up the stairs. So I came down, and we gave him a 1,200 milligram CBD oil, and I told him to take it 3 times a day. And, lo and behold, he came back a year later, and he walked up the stairs, and he's like, I knew he was an MS sufferer who was in a wheelchair, could not walk, could not drive. And he came up those stairs, and he says, I made a commitment that, before my time is done on this earth, that I was going to walk up those stairs, and I was going to tell you that your CBD oil allows me to walk again. And it was blown away. I got a quick video and put it on YouTube. You can see it on our YouTube channel on 101 CBD. And he was an MS sufferer, and he could walk again. And that's what I mean. I mean, it was a miracle plant that helped our son, answered our prayers, and it's our gift, a moral obligation to pay it forward. And so that's our life's work, is to dedicate to the education, to break through the stigmas, to answer all the questions, to give the product away for free. When someone buys a product, we give a product away for free to a family in need. It's not our plant. I mean, this plant is here from us. This was, created, by God and the universe, and it was here for us to give and try for each other. And so, so many people are confused about this plant, and so we just want others to try it. And our goal is to have a loud enough voice to have 1 billion people see our videos, try our products, grow seeds in their backyard. if it were up to me, I would just give it away for free all day long, and that's our goal. And so that's why we're doing things like this. We're putting a website together for CBD 101 University at cbd101.org. It's not up yet, but it will be. And we're just going to educate and answer questions and work with governments in Latin America and hopefully someday here in the United States, and just give the damn product away, just like water, just like utility, just like Wi-Fi. Everybody should be taking these products and helping our bodies, you know, and stay healthy. You know, we talk about a pyramid system with the foods and the food groups. This plant is something that needs to be in daily consumption. It's just like a salad, except this plant has these, you know, cannabinoids in it that talks to our body, that helps our body fight homeostasis, which is our true north, which is balance. So there's, you know, I can't wait to answer questions, to help, to continue to pay it forward. And, you know, thank you, Kristin, for having me on. I'm sure there'll be more questions, and we'll keep doing more research. And we've partnered with some of the best people and organizations in the world to make sure that our research and our science and every breakthrough in genetics and cannabinoids and research and studies and you name it. I mean, we are full committed to understanding and unlocking the full potential of this plant and making sure everybody on this earth who wants to try it, who has an issue that could help, has access to it.
I love this. I have learned so much, and I know everyone watching, you must be like, yes, I finally understand the basics and then some. So thank you guys for, you know, sticking with us and listening and learning, because truly, as Justin says, this is a heal the world plant. It's a miracle. You know, we've seen it in our family, and I hear stories every day now. And gosh, Justin, I don't know what we would do without your family. I really don't. I mean that with my whole heart, because what you guys are doing are really changing the world. And, you know, thank you for taking the time and answering all these amazing questions. And I look forward to doing more of these.
Anytime. I hope you guys like my background. Here's the beach in Ventura, California. It's my favorite background. It's not a Zoom video. I know the quality might be perfect, but you know what? This is us. Our store's on the beach. We're 101 CBD up and down the highway in California, all the way from LA up to Seattle. So any questions, reach out to info@101cbd.org. Call us, stop by the store, tell us your story. We have compassionate discounts. Nobody ever walks away without a product. Money will never be the issue. Every order that is made, a product goes out to, whether it's, you know, obviously families affected on autism or spectrum, but we work with organizations for, you know, vets and disabled vets, and cancer and autism, of course, and Alzheimer's. I mean, this plant, again, just helps our body heal itself. That's what it does. That's what homeostasis is. So we're just going to keep fighting the good fight, educating, jumping through the hoops we need to jump through to make sure people can try it. And at the end of the day, if my legacy or our legacy is that, you know, we helped one family because our family was helped by it, then that's good enough. But we've been blessed and grateful that we're able to help thousands, and our goal is to help
1 billion people by 2025. Hopefully we'll be talking on Kelly Clarkson and Ellen DeGeneres' last season, and maybe even Drew Barrymore. Who knows where we'll be next. So thanks for tuning into the Miracle Plant Podcast. On the count of 3, we're going to say heal the world, because that's what the world needs. 1, 2, 3. Heal the world! Thanks for swinging by the Miracle Plant Podcast. We will see you next week. Tune in, because there'll be more exciting announcements. I can promise you that. Thanks, and we'll see you, everybody. Happy healing!
How do cannabis CEOs balance growth and optimization strategies? What is THCO, Delta-10, and CBNA, and why should you care about these minor cannabinoids? And why isn't the endocannabinoid system covered in medical school? Most people think they're up to date in trends in the cannabis industry, but they're about 6 weeks behind. Learn about what is truly next in the cannabis space by joining myself, Brian Fields, and Kellen Finney every week on the Dime Podcast, and of course, on PodConx.